Hello, and this video is meant to show you how to do air jump or infinite jump, however you call it. I couldn't find a video explaining how to do it, so maybe this might be helpful for someone. So there is already a jump that exists in the game. It requires you to have two melee weapons, and it's done by swapping two melee weapons. So it looks like this. I won't be talking about that, you can find it somewhere else. I will be talking about my method, which requires you to have only one weapon. Or even without the bow. It doesn't work with ranged weapons, as far as I know. You will just drop to the ground. So, before you jump into the training, first step would be to bind your sheath button. I think it's not binded by default, so do that. I have it on mouse 5, because that's just convenient. You can choose whatever. So, the first step would be just to double jump. And after the double jump, you press your RMB and your shift button simultaneously. It will look like this. So the next step would be to press your double jump again. And you don't even have to wait for your blue focus to appear. You could be doing this, but you don't have to wait for it. Like this. So the next step would be to swap back to your weapon. It's done by either pressing your 1 or 2 button or by scroll wheel. I highly suggest using scroll wheel because it's faster and a lot of players are using it. If you don't use scroll wheel, you will have to eventually because a lot of movement techniques requires you to have scroll wheel. In case your weapon is set to first slot, you will have to scroll down, and if it's set to weapon 2, you have to scroll up. So, like this. So, the next step would be to practice swapping back to your weapon. And the last step, the hardest one, would be to combine everything that you've done before and repeat the process. The key thing here is your timing, because if you do it too early, for example, you will drop down to the ground. So you gotta wait a bit after you double jump to make sure you don't fall to the ground. So also a couple things to note. You forcibly drop down after a certain amount of time. So it's not really an infinite jump, but I guess you still can stall for a lot of time. You can also press your directional keys. So there's that. Yeah, I'm dropping down. So it has some in-game applications. For example, you can stall for time when someone is fighting, or you can just even do it mid-fight to surprise your opponents. But the most interesting part would be is you can combine it with the swap weapon technique. And it will look like this. Basically, you're able to swap to your melee weapon and cast your LMB. I think it happens because your fists count as melee weapon, maybe that's why. But I think it's just useful because you don't have to carry two melee weapons on your own. This would be enough, or maybe even like this. It still works just fine. So I think that was it. Hope this video was somewhat helpful. And I wish you good luck in your games.